Okay. Hello, my name is Mackenzie Fitzgerald, and the insect that I will be discussing today is the emperor dragonfly.
Hello, my name is Owen Dwyer, and the insect I will be discussing today is the antlion.
The topic of our debate is which is the better predator, the emperor dragonfly or the antlion. So the Anax imperator, which is also known as the emperor dragonfly, is part of the Odonata order of insects. This order goes through an incomplete or gradual metamorphosis, which consists of 3 life stages: the egg, the larva or nymph, and the adult stage. Dragonflies are one of the oldest species of insects and were discovered around 300 million years ago. Nowadays, dragonflies will have a wingspan of around 2 to 5 inches, but there are fossils found from when they first evolved that show some with a wingspan of almost 2 feet. Young emperor dragonflies that are in the larva stage can take up to a year to form their wings, but once they do, their lifespan can last up to 80 days. The emperor dragonfly is one of the largest dragonfly species. This specific species of dragonfly is not very common in North America and is mostly found in parts of Europe, like Great Britain and parts of Africa. Since dragonflies must lay their eggs in water for the eggs to survive, they tend to live near freshwater streams or ponds with lots of vegetation. Their behavior consists of protecting their territory for potential mates, flying through the air at speeds of up to 24 miles per hour, and catching their prey, which includes butterflies and even other smaller dragonflies. One way that they are able to do this is with their complex vision. Dragonflies have tens of thousands of ommatidia in each compound eye that help them to detect ultraviolet light, colors, and movement. Dragonflies' eyes take up almost their entire head, which allow them to have almost a 360-degree view of any prey that might come along. The thousands of ommatidia help the dragonfly to determine the speed and distance of its prey. The antlion's main way of capturing prey is by digging small traps and hoping that the prey will fall into it. Unlike dragonflies, antlions do not make great use of their vision when hunting for prey. The antlion's method of preying is much less effective than a dragonfly's because an antlion will sit around and wait while a dragonfly will fly through the air quickly to capture its prey.
The Glenurus gratis, whose common name is antlion, is part of the order known as Neuroptera. This insect goes through 4 distinct stages, which are egg, larva, pupa, and finally its 4th and final adult stage. After living in a pit and forming a cocoon, the adult stage lasts 20 to 25 days. Antlion fossil records show it has been around for at least 115 million years. They can be found all over the world. Due to their diversity, they can be found living in various settings such as forest floors and the dry areas along the trees of riverbanks. Behavior-wise, antlions are very calm and almost dormant while waiting for their prey to fall into their pits. Adults during the day will rest on tree branches, but at night they're much more active and mobile. While the antlion in their larval state may not have amazing compound eyes such as that of the emperor dragonfly, it can be argued that they really don't need to rely on their sight during that time. Their other senses are so heightened to the point where the extreme disruption of their pit by their prey is enough that once their powerful jaws are locked on, it's basically over for the insect unfortunate enough to fall into the pit. While the dragonfly does have the ability to fly around to more access to its prey, the antlion's methods have been perfected to the point that its food source quite literally falls right into its hands. And while yes, it may not be as efficient or free-moving in the ability to obtain its food source as the emperor dragonfly, they're more widespread across the world, so as compared to the dragonfly, which is confined to Asia, Africa, and Europe. So the antlion is able to prey on many insects from numerous regions, which helps make up for its lack of flight in larval state.
One could easily say that the dragonfly's method of catching prey has been perfected. Emperor dragonflies will eat their prey, which includes butterflies and smaller dragonflies, out of the air. Once they find what they want to prey on, they fly at an increasing speed to grab their prey with their legs. After that, the dragonfly will immobilize the prey by shredding its wings with its powerful jaws and then continuing to devour it. Not only are they able to catch their prey, but they are able to do it with extreme accuracy. There was a study done in 2014 at Harvard University where they tested 4 different types of Lulidae species of dragonfly and tested their ability to capture 4 different types of prey. The researchers found that out of all the dragonflies they studied, about 95% of them were able to catch the prey they released upon them. The emperor dragonfly is one of the largest dragonfly species at an average length of 3.2 inches, which is advantageous for them because it gives them a wider range of insects for them to prey on. The dragonfly will catch almost any flying insect that is smaller than them with their feet. Dragonflies are almost exclusively carnivorous, which makes them a big threat to other insects, unlike the antlion, which is omnivorous and relies on nectar and pollen to survive its adult stage.
The antlion larvae don't need any particular soil to live in, so they can set up in their pits and catch their prey almost anywhere. The antlion does its best to survive by being able to construct their pits to almost any terrain. As larvae, they will also hide themselves in the bottom of the pit, so the prey can't see them, which makes it much easier for the antlion larva to conceal itself from their prey. They will then puncture their prey and thrash them around their pit. In their adult state, they'll only be active during the night, but their eating habits will differ from their larval state. A good amount of species as adults will actually prefer to eat pollen or nectar instead. While they will still prey on other insects, they've adapted to feed on multiple sources for survival as adults. The antlion is also the largest disparity in size between the larval and adult stage of almost any insect, the difference in size being 2.8 centimeters. While they can no longer conceal themselves in the pit, they can fly and catch their prey while they are midair. An antlion might not use its feet in its pit to catch prey. It'll use its head like a shovel to flick sand onto it and to impede its prey from climbing out of the pit.
The emperor dragonfly also has great ways of hiding from predators that start to show when they are young nymphs. When the emperor dragonfly is in its aquatic stage, it can hide to avoid predators or jet away. When the dragonfly is in its adult stage, it can use its wings to quickly fly away from potential predators or hide somewhere with vegetation using camouflage. The emperor dragonfly's willingness to fight to survive starts from a young age. As larvae, the dragonflies have developed eyes that they can use to quickly track and respond to prey that gets in its tracks. Like their adult stage, they are fully carnivorous in their aquatic stage and are seen as a threat to animals such as water beetles, worms, tadpoles, and even small fish. When the emperor dragonfly grows up, it only gets more threatening. The male emperor dragonfly is so territorial that if another male dragonfly tries to enter its territory, it will fight to the death to protect it. The antlion does show signs of territorial behavior, but not to the point that it will battle another antlion to the point of death.
Antlion larvae expertly hide themselves among the pits as larvae, to a point where they just have to wait and see what stumbles into their pit. This works so well because until their prey is in the pit, they can't even tell the antlion is there. As an adult, they really don't need to hide, so they just fly around and pick out whatever flower or small insect that they want. Due to their flying capabilities, finding and locating the prey of their choice really isn't that difficult. Since the adult part of their life only lasts a little more than a month, the choice of pollen and nectar from flowers or tiny aphids are usually found on the leaves. That is usually a very good choice due to the abundance of these plants and tiny arthropods. So while they're a great predator, they're also a very beneficial species for getting rid of small pests such as aphids. Antlions aren't very territorial because they don't need to be, and often when the larvae get larger, they'll be in groups of 4 evenly spaced out new and larger pits so that one antlion's pit doesn't interfere with the other pit's abilities to obtain their source of food. So rather than be territorial with each other, they're actually beneficial toward each other.
The dragonfly is an important insect to human society because they are among the apex predators of all insect species. This means that they are not being preyed on by many other species, and they help to regulate the species underneath them on the food chain. One of the biggest ways that a dragonfly's predatory nature is helpful to humans is by regulating mosquitoes by eating them. This helps gardeners and farmers reduce the amount of pesticides used on fresh products. The emperor dragonfly is an important species to study because their presence is actually an indicator of fresh water. Studies of dragonflies' health and population can help scientists indicate changes in water systems nearby, which can help lead to more studies. Some national parks are already taking this data into account for the status of their water. Another reason why the emperor dragonfly is very important to study is because this specific species of dragonfly was only somewhat recently discovered in the 1980s, so not much information is known about them. Dragonflies are beneficial to humans and nature because they help to maintain a natural balance throughout the world by remaining harmless to people and getting rid of other insects that are harmful to humans.
The antlion is important to study because studying their behavior and how they make their pit and catch their prey demonstrates their ability to learn. They are also important because adults and larvae are both economically beneficial, because the adults feed on caterpillars and aphids, which harm many flowers and crops, and the larvae will tend to feed on various species of ants and other insect larvae. While they remove the pests that are harmful to plants, the methods the antlions use to get rid of pests aren't harmful to plants, people, or crops. Antlions really aren't preyed on by most of any other insects, and of how they help to take care of pests. They're really one of the best beneficial predators out there.